episode 14 of our second series on the surnames of early families in Appalachia and the American South. In case you're wondering why I don't look at more recent immigrant names, it's because the Industrial Revolution of the late 1800s brought in millions of immigrants. A person my age would most likely know where their great or double great grandparents originated. This series is for people who don't know where their ancestors originated, or they want confirmation of what they already know or think they know. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 100 times, folks, or maybe even 1,000 times. From people around these parts, I don't know where my family came from, but I reckon my grandmother was a full-blooded Cherokee. Well, I've heard that on both sides of my own family, and more times than I can count. With that said, it must be noted that some members of non-white minority groups may have adopted these names, but there were many intermarriages, formal and informal, with white people, so a DNA test augmented by a paper trail, including the origin of their surnames, could help unravel genealogical mysteries for anyone interested in knowing the genetic and cultural past of their families. My goal is to help point folks in the right direction. So today on The Vantage Point, we will explore the origin and meaning of 6 requested surnames, along with identifying some of the earliest people who carried those names into America. All the names and families discussed in this series have been requested. I hope you'll join me. Number 1, Stacy. Our first name today comes from southern England, where it originated as a personal name, Eustace. Hello, Eustace. How are you today? Would you like some tea? Both Henry Harrison and Edward McCrae agree on its origin and meaning and presence in England and Ireland. But is it an early Appalachian or Southern name? Well, it is indeed. According to Carroll House, that's a website that does genealogical work apparently, Simon Stacy was born in England in 1638. He married Mary Elizabeth Watt and moved to America. But I'm not sure if they married in England or America. They settled in Charles Parish in York County, Virginia, where they passed away in 1717 and 1718, respectively. They had a son named Joseph Stacy. At the end of the day, I'm confident that your line, subject to adoptions or hanky-panky in the old family tree, could lead you to England or Ireland. Number 2, Bentley. Speaking of jolly old England, Bentley is yet another one. It's toponymic, which means it's derived from a place name. It didn't just sit in England until some Bentley folks made it to America. Nope. Like Stacy, it's found in Ireland. It's been there since before Oliver Cromwell's role as Lord Protector in the 17th century. That's the 1600s for you and me. Bentley families have been in the South since William Bentley and his wife Elizabeth arrived in Jamestown in January 1608. Man, that's getting back there. They apparently made it through the rough years, 1609 to 1610. A lot of people died there. Cannibalism was the resort. William died in 1663. According to WikiTree, William and Elizabeth had 2 sons, Richard and William Jr. I didn't find the surname Bentley among the traditional surnames of Scotland or Wales. Assuming this is your biological line, it could take you to England or Ireland. Number 3, Basden. Occasionally someone criticizes the way I pronounce a word or leave out a point that they think is important. Folks, most of the criticisms that I get are about pronunciations. But I'm just a retired dean and a historical geographer from a university who has a passion for helping others make interesting discoveries about their families and homelands. Appalachia and the South are wide expanses of space with millions of people. There are tens of thousands of families in these regions, and there are many bearers of surnames that I have never met or heard their names pronounced. I tell you this because sometimes I make guesses about how a word or name sounds. But I show the spellings and the great likelihood that I will mispronounce some of them. And if you feel compelled, you're welcome to share with me how to pronounce them. I may not ever say them again as long as I live, but it's okay. I stopped trying to pronounce Gaelic, German, French, and Welsh surnames, so I just show the spellings for them and point to them. I'm not omniscient. Now, Basden, although English, is a name that I'm sure is pronounced differently in various regions. I hope you can appreciate that accents and stresses on syllables may differ from region to region. At any rate, Basden is derived from a place called Basden Wood or Basden Wood in Kent, England. It was given to a person who lived near a swine pasture, of all things. I was only able to find the origin and meaning of Basden in the Dictionary of American Family Names, 2nd edition. Now that tells me something. It tells me that it's not common in England today. Those of you in England, like Matt out there, please let me know if you know of anybody with that name. Nor is it found among the traditional surnames of Ireland, Scotland, or Wales. This suggests to me that when people left the area and moved elsewhere, they likely chose the name of their home area as a surname. That's the case for my simple little last name, which was adopted from Van France or Ellen Vannin, the beautiful little Isle of Man. Van means of man in Manx Gaelic. Now when the diminutive suffix is added to form Vannin, it means of little Isle of Man. At any rate, Basden has been in the South since James and Elizabeth Lightbourne. Basden left Bermuda for Virginia around 1730. The family was originally from Kent, England, where the Basden wood is located. Confirmation there. James died in 1770 in Southampton, Virginia. I don't know the death date for Elizabeth, though. I'm sorry about that. Nonetheless, I'm confident that Basden is an English toponymic name. Number 4, and it is one I'm probably gonna mess up. Housel, and folks correct me if I'm wrong here, and I'm sure I am. Housel or Housal. I learned from research in this family name that Housal with an A in the last syllable is the original spelling and seems to point toward Lancashire, England as a place of origin. I very nearly attended the University of Lancaster, but eventually chose the University of Glasgow instead. That's where I earned my PhD in historical geography. At any rate, Halsall or Helsall, whatever, correct me if I'm wrong again, started its existence, and I'm sure you will, as an Anglo-Saxon personal name. It meant man, hero, plus hall, as in a building with meeting rooms. The first folks with this name must have been well respected. Nonetheless, it's not found among the traditional names of Ireland, Scotland, or Wales, so it's most likely an English name. Now, with respect to the surnames presence in Appalachia and or the South, I was able to find records of Thomas Halsall, Sr., who was born in Maryland in 1720. He died in South Carolina in 1786, where his family continued to live. At the end of the day, Halsall is a long-standing Southern family that originated in England. Number 5, Gilmore or Gilmore. When I received this request, my mind went back to Oliver Springs High School in Tennessee during the 1976-77 school year. I escorted the very lovely Lisa Gilmore to the homecoming queen ceremony. She didn't win, but eventually I married an even lovelier Amy Lane, who was crowned a homecoming queen at Powell Valley High School in Claiborne County, Tennessee. Now that was just, I didn't even know it until we started dating, and after a while she said, yeah, I was a homecoming queen. Okay, great. Anyway, she's a very lovely person inside and out. That's cool, Barry, but where did the surname and the earliest Gilmores originate? Well, as Ronald Reagan would say, well, if you're looking for a southern name with a Irish or Scottish origin, you found it in Gilmore. Yes, you did. It's derived from the Scottish Gaelic or the Irish Gaelic. It meant devotee or servant of the Virgin Mary. Other sources say it means keeper of the gate. Among the first Gilmores to reside in the South or Appalachia was James Gilmore Sr. He was born in Ireland in 1730. He and his wife Elizabeth, who was also born in Ireland, immigrated to South Carolina. I'm not sure about Elizabeth's birth year though. Sorry about that. At any rate, they eventually settled in the Spartanburg area in the upstate of South Carolina, where there was no shortage of Scots-Irish settlers. They had 5 children, so they found a home in America. Their son James Jr. was 13 years old when the American Revolution came to the upstate. Like his fellow South Carolinian, Andrew Jackson, he served as a child soldier in the war. Number 6, McCrae, or Ray. These names share a common origin. Yes, they do. The MC or MAC prefix doesn't indicate necessarily Irish or Scottish. It means both. It's Gaelic. And it means a son of Ray. According to Wrightsville Beach magazine, Roderick McCrae immigrated from Inverness, the county of Inverness, in Scotland to Wilmington, North Carolina in 1770. He spoke Gaelic, wore kilts, and had a fondness for traditional Scottish fare such as haggis. My first and last experience with haggis was in Jedburgh, Scotland in 1996. Ugh, sorry about that. If you love haggis, more power to you. As was often the case, non-English speakers sometimes change their names to make them seem more Anglo-American. There is a Ray County in East Tennessee, for example. It was named after John Ray, a son of an Ulster-born Presbyterian minister. Now, if he was an Ulster-born Presbyterian minister, he was of Scottish descent. John Ray was a veteran of the American Revolution and later represented Tennesseans in Congress from 1803 to 1815. At any rate, these surnames trace back to Ulster and Scotland. Well, folks, that's about all I have for you today. I hope you got something out of the discussion, and thanks for joining me. Until I see you again, may the good Lord bless and keep you. May He make His face shine on you and give you peace. Bye-bye.